All right. That took me a minute. So I just woke up, so it's gonna be might have a little bit of a deeper voice than I normally do. But so yesterday while I was streaming, um I kept cutting back and forth to probably the worst debate I've ever experienced in my life. And like then something after that happened. Like, you know, there are people like there's the problems with the argument, right? That's what everything should have focused on. But it also devolved into a bunch of other petty shit. Like a lot of what was going on the after show of that debate was retarded. And I'll explain why. Uh, Marte was getting called out for not being, for not having taken part in the sacraments for 4 months. Whose business is that? No one but him and his priest. Sorry, that's the truth about it. He has something worked out with his priest. He says that's what he has. That's what he has. You have no business involving yourself in that at all, no matter who you are. Is it asking if he's had something approved by his priest? Sure, that's a good question. That's probably something that shouldn't be done publicly to try to humiliate somebody, and also maybe would have been more responsive. So as I've been laid out, as I was waking up and I was re-going through a lot of what happened in the after panel, I began to realize that this wasn't actually like the debate was over, but this wasn't actually about the debate anymore. It was about shaming Marte as much as humanly possible. Because that's what happens when drama people go up. That's what they usually tend to do. They tend to just say a bunch of shit, see if it sticks to the wall, and just continuously go after the person that they want to, which right now is Marte. So they did all this. They they got what they wanted out of it. All right. He leaves. Then the conversation actually gets back on track about the topic at hand rather than Marte's personal life. Like, also, another thing, I don't think just because he has done something bad, like done nudes or whatever, it doesn't preclude him from being able to do stuff online. I do think that he should probably, I don't know if it's a good idea for him to represent Orthodoxy, but that's not my choice. Like, this is the thing. All this stuff revolves around him going to his priest. All the everybody else beyond that question of have you gone to your priest about this? Everything else doesn't fucking matter. Everything else is just trying to humiliate him. That's it. So people went too far with that. Just pretty much everybody that was on that panel went too far with that. It turned the argument, it turned the debate into a type of humiliation ritual, but it was it was kind of ignited by some of the other people there that joined that wanted to make it about drama. So nothing actually got. No, let's just look at it this way, right? Hey Mo, let's look at it this way. Uh, yes, the proper question was, have you asked your priest about this? And he says no. Well, then tell him, well, you should. Or if he says yes, well, then that you shut your mouth. Like at that point, it's over. You don't talk about it anymore. You don't do this shit publicly. First of all, I think that was pretty fucking gay. But second of all, and like I don't even like Marte, right? I don't have to like him as a person, but I can under like I. This is the thing. Like I do think that there's certain amount of respect that should be due to somebody who is Orthodox. If you are my brother, I'm going to treat you in a way more respectful way than somebody outside the church that I have no connection to whatsoever. You are a outside portion of my family, right? That's the way I would think of you if you were Orthodox and I'm Orthodox. You are a portion of my family. So I would only do things for your benefit, not to publicly humiliate you. Now, granted, I will give grace to the people that were there. Maybe they just weren't thinking about it. They were just part of the conversation right there, not understanding what they were doing. But I kind of think that that's me reducing them down to children. Of course they knew what they were doing. They just didn't care. So, and this is the thing too, is like some of them, like that whole, have you talked to your priest about this? That's a okay question to ask publicly. Everything else that happened after that was just random bullshit that just kept sprouting up from, you did this, you actually did that. Actually, you're a bad person because you did this. You did this because you're bad. You owe money to this person. That makes you bad. Okay, why are you getting yourself involved in other people's fucking business, first of all? That's pretty fucking gay. If so, if he won that money and he was supposed to give it back, that's not between you and him. That's between him and Grid. Who gives a fuck? Why do you care so much? And the reason why you care so much is because you want to humiliate him. You want to drag stuff out so you can hit him with a bunch of stones. That's what you want to do. You're throwing rocks at him. Which, when you do that, you need to be careful you're not in a glass house. But, I don't think that people here generally care that they live in glass houses when they start throwing stones. But anyways, this whole thing that's happened with this after panel was so retarded that now what has actually happened? Is there any effective change that you could consider Marte is going to take from any of this? Or is he going to focus on this end part? Is he going to focus on this end portion? And then go, it doesn't matter. These people don't know what they're talking about. They're involving themselves in shit that's not their business. Fuck them all. I'm not even going to pay attention to this. It wasn't even about the topic. A lot of it was, but Marte bad, though. Yeah, a lot of it was. A lot of it was just, but Marte bad. So Marte must be predatory because Marte bad. Now, listen, I had trouble understanding the argument. I kind of get it, but it doesn't like what Marte was making. But the entailments of the position just makes it absolutely an insane position to keep. Because the entailment of that position is that the less, the less functional they are, like if they're blind or if they are crippled or something, like it makes them more virtuous. It's aligning virtue with the disability. So it reduces down to eventually, well, you should just date somebody who is crippled from the neck down and blind and deaf and mute, and you would reach maximum virtue. And you should seek these women out, which would be insane, right? That's a retarded position to kind of defend. Now, his argument was garbage, and he bounced around and he ran from the refutations in circles. He kept running from it. But that has nothing to do with what happened after all that shit. And this is why you don't let these people in your communities. Because they make shit not about the arguments. That you don't get people corrected and on the right path and on the correct position to actually make them better and stronger, which is what should be the goal of anyone who claims to be orthodox on the internet should be, is to try to make your brothers, your sisters stronger. We should stand united, not trying to just rip each other down for other random shit that doesn't fucking matter. And I'm not even saying that this is what necessarily completely happened. I'm saying this is a general statement. I don't think that's necessarily what happened at all there, up until a certain point. But the problem is that there's no, like, this is the thing. If you're online, you should be trying to build up your brothers and sisters. You shouldn't be trying to rip them down and engaging with humiliation rituals or even just allowing that to happen. This is the thing. Like, if this is why I don't engage in these types of spheres, is because it always devolves in this kind of stuff. And what am I gonna like? If I tried to stop it, what's gonna happen? I'm just gonna become a target. So what's the point? I'm gonna sit out here in my fucking shed. That's what I'm gonna do. So, but in my shed, I'm gonna say that's pretty fucking gay, and I can't believe that since you were present there that you allowed that to happen. So that's just the way I feel about it. I don't think that any of this was like I'm not even gonna. I was gonna play clips of this, but I decided not to because a lot of the shit that's said is none of my business. None of my fucking business at all. It's nobody's business but the person that they have that issue with. Like I'll say it, yeah, I'll lay it out, but I'm not gonna play like I'm not gonna spread that shit because it's none of my business, none of your business. It's nobody's business. So, so what ultimately I've learned from this is that nobody actually gives a shit about like actually helping Marte. At least most of the people there. I do think that Paige had a moment where she was actually truly trying to reach out and try to help him, but most of the other people there were just there to try to dunk on him. So like that's what it was. It was just a bunch of people trying to dunk on him for random shit that had nothing to do with the argument to say Marte bad. Okay, Marte bad, but what does that have to do with the argument? Like at all? Kind of, it's just stupid. And also, if you conduct yourself in a bad manner often and publicly enough, it will come back to bite you. Yeah, but this is the thing. Like there is not being able to get like debates or whatever because you've been known to use AI in debates. That's one thing, right? But there's another thing of having an after panel and then just bringing up all the key points of why you think somebody's bad. Like you're just like you're not even actually talking to them. You're not even talking about what the topic of discussion is supposed to be on that panel. All you're doing is going down a list of shit that you want to say to make somebody look bad and to humiliate them. So it just becomes the humiliation ritual. That's all it becomes. The argument, who gives a fuck about the argument? Because for almost an hour and a half, it wasn't about the argument. It was about let's make Marte look as shitty of a human being as possible. I'm going to take out my grievances on Marte right now because he looks stupid and it gives me a yeah, I feel like I have an advantage and I feel like I can do this right now because because of the retarded argument he made. So that's what I've come to by watching the after panel after I got it after and the only thing that was actually happening that was good about the after panel and stuff is when Kat actually got to ask her questions to that Tommy guy. Then the topic came back up. They got to actually talk about it. And then what's his name, the fake brick guy, like he does what he usually does and just acts like an idiot. But like this is the thing. That whole section between that and where Kat actually got to ask her questions and stuff, everything, all that in between was useless, useless garbage. That was just humiliation rituals. I think it was overboard, but the boastfulness wasn't help to him. So, well, what is he supposed to do at that point? I mean, at this point, he's been attacked in about 6 or 7 different ways. So at this point, if I'm going to be honest, at this point, if I was being attacked in this kind of way, I'd just be throwing everything off. I'd be like, I don't give a fuck. Why are you even? You don't get to say anything about this to me. None of you do because they put him in a defensive position. Now, the only reason I'm really doing this is because I don't like everybody right now is cool time to shit on Marte time. Like that's the cool thing to do right now. And I do think that his argument was garbage, and he argued it very poorly, and the entire framing of it was shit. The entailments of it were retarded, but that does not mean because he has a retarded type of position and debate pattern through that whole debate does not mean that you can immediately attack him because, you know, you see blood in the water. Because that's what it looked like. That's all it looked like. And I think the only way to prevent shit from like this from happening is to start getting rid of the people from these types of communities that engage in this type of behavior. These people are not owed positions on these shows. They're not owed it. Which is why, you know, if I ever actually start hosting debates, which I thought about making silly troll debates and having like retarded rules, you know, that people could do within the debates. But if I did, there's a lot of people that's just not going to be allowed to be a part of it at all. That's it. Because it becomes so silly. Like the internet is so fucking retarded 90% of the time, and there's really only a few opportunities that you have that you can really try to affect somebody who is making a very bad argument, and the way things get piled on is just retarded. He's really inviting the jokes and dunking on him at this point to a degree because he entertains ridiculous prompts that feed into the negative feedback loop. So people will do what they're going to do. Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. People can set themselves up and make it look like very tempting to do something, right? But that doesn't mean that you're good for doing it. That's my whole point. It doesn't mean that you're good for doing it. So he may be inviting those jokes and stuff, and maybe, you know, once in a while it's funny, you know, you make a little jab at him or whatever. But when it becomes a whole thing about like I just want to attack you personally for like an hour when there's a debate prop, I think it's just retarded. But he's like, I'll be honest about him. I think he takes easy debates. I think he creates weird prompts that gives him the edge in debates because I think he was really relying on AI, and he's trying to not be relying on AI. So he's taking really easy, I'm going to dunk on you debates. And I think a lot of what he's doing is silly, and he probably should just stop and actually argue the points that consistently work instead of coming up with weird race bait shit or weird sexism bait shit. But it's insane. Like this is the thing. All this could be true. He could be baiting all of this, but the way that he was attacked on the after panel in the middle part of it was retarded and insane. And nobody seems to give a fuck. They're either ignoring it or they're going like, ha ha, we got him, boys. We got him. Yeah, who cares? You didn't actually engage with the argument. You made it about some weird, silly humiliation ritual shit. That's what you did. Boasting of Orthodox being above them and their ways, I don't think I like what's happening, but he is constantly fed it. Well, this is the thing. This is the thing. There's only so much you could do with somebody who's saying shit like that. And you could tell them, have you talked to your priest? You should talk to your priest. And if he says that he has and that he's going to, then that's it. The only thing that you could do above that is actually contact his priest yourself. These are the only two things you can do about that. Why? Because we live under a fucking hierarchy. We are under a hierarchy. That's the way you functionally take care of things for the most part. Trying to shame somebody for having not had communion for 4 months because he's had something worked out with his priest, that's nothing. That's just trying to humiliate him or trying to discredit him based on something that he's probably worked out with his priest. At least that's what he claims he has. So why should I have any other reason to doubt that other than, you know, even if he is making it up, why wouldn't he just make up that he's taking communion. It doesn't make any sense. So, like, I just, within that pattern, I understand that he's probably telling the truth. But him boasting that he's Orthodox and using that as accreditation to justify his positions as being true, yeah, I've seen him do that. He shouldn't do it. But what am I supposed to do besides have you talked to your priest? You should talk to your priest. And if not, then, you know, who's ever close to him or with in that community, they need to talk to his priest if he's not doing it. So that's it. That's all that can be done about that. The whole individual, like, particular things that he's done that's bad, who gives a fuck? It has nothing to do with the argument. Yeah, the Shame Brigade isn't a W for the brigade since it doesn't engage with the debate prompt. The right thing to do is to make him look silly for the prompt, not the wild red herrings. Yeah, that's the thing too. Is like it is a W for them because they're not going there for the positions, they're not going there for the prompts, they're not going there for the arguments. This is why there's so much conflict between these two communities, because these two communities, one cares about the arguments and trying to discover truth, the other one is, lol, this is funny, lol, you bad, lol, you got stuff, you do bad stuff, lol, funny, bad stuff, you do funny bad stuff, and I'm just gonna laugh at it and say you're bad, you know. So that's what it is. Or I feel I'm better than you because you do this. Like, that's that whole sphere of people, fucking worthless, absolutely fucking worthless. They contribute nothing to anything. They literally don't. They're just a bunch of wild jackals in the damn forest that'll try to eat you alive if you trip. That's it. So fuck them. Why engage with them? Why allow these people anywhere? Why allow them on your panels? Why allow them on your after panels, your debates, or whatever? Why allow these people to do this? They're not good faith. They don't give a fuck. Nothing. They don't give a shit. Yeah, it's a W for them and the clips that they're going to try to farm out of it. They got what they wanted from it, because what ultimately a lot of drama people want is they just want a reaction. That's it. They just want a reaction. They want to be able to talk shit so they can make themselves feel better about their own pathetic lives, their own pathetic, spiritually empty, devoid of any kind of meaning life. So they use other people as a method of forgetting about their troubles, forgetting about the things that are going on. It has the credibility of the person debating a topic while proclaiming piety matter. Yeah, yeah, it does. So when somebody does things like this is what I'm trying to say. It can matter, but it depends on who's actually criticizing you. If the person that's criticizing you is ultimately the same or worse than you, then they're just a hypocrite. And you could say that you're bringing up these issues that kind of discount his piety or whatever, but that's ultimately not a question that is effective outside of the church itself. Nobody outside the church can critique the person's piety. Personally, feel like a attack would be far less if he approach was less ego and self-righteous filled. Yeah, it also depends on the talk. Yeah, but what I'm also saying is, and yeah, I'd agree. I think that a lot of the what he does is he's just like trying to, you know, gaslight people into making silly arguments. He's just trying to make people angry, so it makes them look silly, so he can farm clips off of them. He's doing a very similar thing as the drama community is, right? I hope he's genuinely repentant in his private life, but his past can be embarrassing to elements of what his public platform are now. People like that could do more harm than help speaking on a topic. Yeah, I mean, it depends. I don't think that I don't think that's something that I could really decide. If he wants to represent orthodoxy, he needs to do that with his priests, and he needs to be completely honest about his private life. And if he's repented from it, and his priest says it's okay, then that's the way it is. But when it comes to when it comes to just using the stuff that's in his past against him in a debate because you have no arguments, you just want to make fun of him, go to through this humiliation ritual instead of engaging with the arguments itself. Like it doesn't work. It doesn't make this space any better. It doesn't make arguments any stronger. It doesn't do anything. It's just a act of just attacking and ripping the community apart because you think it's funny. He goes along with the issue of people driving non-believers away from Christ because the optics are bad. Well, this is the thing. There is there is some truth in that. Like if this was me, if I had a personal thing, if I could personally decide and have my opinion, be enacted, which has no authority whatsoever, I would say that Marte should stop uh, talking about orthodoxy at all. He should stop. But is that something that I could say to him that he should do? No, because I have no authority over him. He has his priest. His priest, he needs to talk to his priest, not me, not any of us. That's just the truth of the matter. So bringing that shit up in public was kind of gay. But I will have grace, and hopefully it was just, it was the heat of the moment. It was late. Everybody was getting tired, and they just didn't think about it being online. What up, Scott? So I just think it's silly shit. Like that. The thing is that debate was just an absolute landslide win. Marte didn't win any fucking points at all, but it got obfuscated, and now he can't even take the L because he's got a whole lot of other things to attach to that he can use as an excuse. If there was something I could say he should do is stop trying to explain his past to those people who are literally just there to shame him for his past. The motive is not after his redemption. Yeah, those people, they don't give a fuck. And I think that he's kind of naive when it comes to the internet. Those people don't give a fuck. They just want to find more stuff to make fun of him. So the more he tells them about it, the more material they have to make fun of him with. So the way that you deal with it is you go, these people don't matter. Fuck them. Why am I engaging with them? They don't mean anything. I don't remember much of the after panel particulars. I pieced out at around 12 or something. Yeah, this was like at 2 o'clock in the morning for me. So it was deep. It was kind of deep in it, but like but it was just a lot of like random like accusatory shit. Bunch of people like, look, this is my thing, is that there's some people in this space that will be really that will at a later time act like they're really upset and talk shit and say that they did this, this, and this, but actually in the background they hadn't done a damn thing, not a fucking thing. So like a lot of these particular issues that they were talking about, I don't fucking believe. Oh yeah, if it was around 2 a.m. Eastern, I was way past out. Yeah, it was probably like, yeah. You know, it's kind of what I wanted to talk about. Sorry, I just found something pop up real quick. All right. But yeah, that's why I'm here, right? Like all this shit on the internet's so fucking gay. Nobody actually wants to engage with arguments. They just want to attack each other or just not even listen. This is why we're here, or this is why I'm here. Everything else, every person that's in this debate sphere, they don't. It's not. Nothing's getting worked out. Literally, nothing's getting worked out. Nobody's actually learning anything, and it's because we have this mixed community of people that are bad faith and just should be cut out. Nothing's being learned. Everything's getting reduced down to petty bullshit, humiliation rituals. So it's just all fucking gay. And it's kind of like my ultimate point I was trying to make. So let's see. But it was almost a good curb stomp debate though. It was almost that. It was really terrible though. Yeah, it's got like a. That's the thing too. It's like everything to. This is the thing. Everything to an atheist is a tool to use to attack. So they're not actually like anything that they say about anything. Like they'll just take and absorb your worldview to attack you with it without even without their even the ability to understand it. And there was one part where somebody was like reading a scripture that had absolutely nothing to fucking do with the conversation that was happening at all because they didn't understand what it meant. They even on a surface level reading it, it made no sense to use that scripture where he did. It's just like weird shit. I don't trust an atheist. There's very few atheists that I actually trust and think are good faith. The rest of them are fucking swine. Retarded fucking degenerate swine. The shit they're using against Marte aren't even even the things they go against their with their own morals. That's what's funny about it. Yeah, they're hypocrites. They don't give a fuck. And this is the thing. Like in those types of communities, um, in this type of communities, well, that's what they do. That's the whole point. Is that they don't actually have any type of moral system. They just use moral systems against other people to make people look bad, and it's funny because we made them look bad in their worldview. Everyone is a degenerate swine. No, not everybody. There are degrees of degeneracy, and the atheist is the intellectual degenerate, intellectual like mind diddler. Their point is he claims things, then openly acts against what he claims. Well, with like the nude stuff that he did, as far as I understand, that was before he was Orthodox, before all of this stuff was happening. So that doesn't actually him. That's not actually him doing stuff openly against what his faith is now. So yeah, what he did with that stuff is gross and degenerate and horrific, and he never should have done it. But he does not need to seek forgiveness from me for doing that. That's between him and God, not me. I pray that he gets forgiveness for that. So, um, that I don't that's the big thing that I understand and know about that's constantly being used. So, what is it? That doesn't matter ultimately. He's not. That's not him being an open hypocrite. That's him saying, "Yeah, I've done this, and that's bad, and you also should not do it. So I'm going to attack the state of things in that way." There's no like hypocrisy within that. And even if he was a hypocrite, still would have nothing to do with the argument. To have my own problem with Marte's views, but they weren't for righteous reasons. Yeah, I don't. I try not to judge people on that too much. Look, I'm on the outside of all of it. I think it's all of it's gross. But yeah, it is all gross, and it's nobody's business. And all this shit is just being brought to the surface. Look, I'll say a lot of this. Like, I don't judge uh, my fellow Christians, but I will judge a retarded atheist for being retarded. Just stop. Get some fucking help. And also, I can call them a degenerate swine and say, probably shouldn't be doing that. So that's not me necessarily completely judging them. That's just me say, hey, this is what you are. You need to get it. You need to quit it. You hear we're all outside of it? Yeah. I mean, like, this is the thing. We're all outside of it. None of this involves it. Involves us. It doesn't even actually involve the people who continuously bring it up. Like, this is the thing. A lot of that community will just find something to attach to, and then they'll just use that to beat you over the head with constantly. This is why they're not like worth engaging with. There's no conversation that you can truly have, because if you put them in a corner, what's going to happen? They're just going to attack you with whatever point that they want to make, or with whatever drama point that they want to make. These are not good faith people. They don't contribute anything to the actual discovery of truth. They say that they don't contribute to it, that that's not their intention to do that. Their intention is to make money and make fun of people and to humiliate people. So what's the point of even having these people around? There is none. Zero. And that's just the honest truth about it. That's the question that you have to answer every time that you have somebody like that around. Now, there's other reasons that you could have for allowing them to be around, but if somebody had a history of beating their spouse, then they tried keeping secret, the prudent advice would be for that person not to advocate for victims in public. Okay, but what would be necessarily wrong about that, though? But yeah, say somebody gets caught, beating their wife privately, and then publicly they're exposed, and they also contribute to an anti like abuse thing, or if they represent it or use it as an argument. I don't think that it makes the argument itself invalid, or even that the help that he's providing for other people any more worse or less. I mean, it would be reasonably disqualify his opinion to people, and he has to accept it and move on from that. Yeah, well, this is the thing too, though. It's like he let that shit get to him, and he let it become a big thing for a long time. So he should literally just do that. He should just discount them, move on from it. Doesn't matter. But he just keeps engaging with these people. He keeps giving them the food that they want. I mean, everybody does. I mean, almost everybody around here kind of does that. The only thing I'm saying is I'm here in my hut. I'm seeing these people slither around and doing the same shit no matter where they go, no matter what. And they get away with it because of their charisma or whatever, and they can play it off as a joke. But, eventually, like, this is the thing. Because people like that collect, like, types of weapons, right? They become friendly with people to attach them at their hip so that they could use them against somebody at some point. It's kind of like it's like the trailer park utility belt. So if you allow these people to engage with you and you become friendly with them, you end up becoming a tool on their belt. Ortega is also placing himself out there as Orthodox Christian, pushing red pill and manosphere stuff that he is calling virtuous to the point of entertaining degenerate spaces, preaching the views, and challenging them as less than. He is inviting the attacks. Yeah. Like, this is the thing. He is pushing red pill bullshit. He is. And Like he should be. I don't think he should be doing that. But you know, is that my position to tell him that he should stop? No, that's his priest. It's one of the great things about the hierarchy is that I don't have to give a shit about it. It's not my problem. This started in a debate held on Tomato Channel. I remember when it was went to an open panel, started and left angry. Andrew and Marte were partners that night. Yeah, I kind of remember how it all kind of started. It was like a Twitter thing, tagging Marte over that. But like this is the thing, that shit only affects you if you let it. It only keeps being spread around and pushed if you allow that kind of shit to bother you. That was his past. He's moved on from it. He's found repentance from it and forgiveness for it. Then it should not be something that he continuously defends or anything like that. Because ultimately, who gives a fuck about what people on the internet think about you? Most of these people are morons. They're morons and they're shallow people. But I think that I think that Marte, he might be inviting a lot of this pushback when it comes to the red pill and stuff. But he's not like inviting people bringing up, you know, the fact that he used AI and won a debate show and won money and that he ought pay the person back. And as far as I understand or know, at least this is what Marte says, is that he's never been asked to do that. And then somebody coming up and they're, well, oh yeah, well that person did say it on my panel. What the fuck does that mean? You fucking idiot. What the fuck does that even mean? So I don't know what's going on with that. It's none of my business. But it's like it's retarded shit that's to bring up. That's not. He's not inviting attacks like that. He's not inviting attacks like, oh well, you do gay porn. He's not inviting shit like that. He's inviting pushback for the position that he has. Yes, but Marte keeps name dropping people to legitimize his views and gain credibility in public. I'm not saying anyone needs to do anything, but this makes sense to me. Well, yeah, like you could just look at him and say that this dude's being kind of cringy by dropping all these names. He's doing this just to like legitimize himself, to make it seem like he's being super boastful, right? It's just, but it's, you know, it might be cringy shit, but it's something I don't worry about. Yeah, I think there are a lot of reasonable criticism of him from our side as well that wants to help him, but he doesn't seem to want to entertain any of that either. And that's the thing. That's what I'm saying too. Is like I think that there's legitimate criticism that he needs to work on. There are things that I think that honestly make him look bad and makes him not a good representation of certain views. But the people that keep bringing up the garbage, worthless bullshit, and this is the thing. I'm not going to go on these panels because like these panels are pointless, and I'm not going to engage with these people because ultimately I think that would be a net negative for me and for the people that I care about. So I'm not going to engage with these people like that. But what I would say is that if you're somebody who is already a part of their community, you're already somebody who engages with them anyways. If something like this is happening in front of you, you should be calling it out. You're part of this group. Like during an after panel, why aren't people? Why isn't specifically even the moderator of the panel itself not going, hey, this is bullshit. This has nothing to do with the prompt. Get back to the prompt. Like, this is the thing, right? This is things that need to happen within the debate sphere to keep these people in line and make sure that they don't derail things in proper criticism. Because Marte will take that criticism that is a good criticism and roll it into all the random other shit that was said that night, discount it all, and just not want to engage with any of it. And just assume, well, all these people just don't like me. Because now of this, well, none of this is a surprise. He also keeps attacking his own allies and has scheduled with me repeatedly. Then tells people I'm not dependable when he doesn't show up. At this point, I don't trust him. He allow what exact without knowing exactly where his thoughts go is definitely a big problem. Like if he says he will do things, then back out of it and blames everyone else. That's on him. Yeah, that's a legitimate criticism, but that would be something that you would have to do because I don't know the ins and outs of that situation. And even then, um, he might be he's a super busy person. True, I guess is what he's saying that he is, but he's not. I don't know. Like I don't. It's none of my business. So that's a criticism that you have of him personally, and that would be okay for you to do that. But for me to go up later on and try to find him on a panel and say that you said Abe wasn't dependable when you're actually not the one that's dependable, then that would be retarded of me. That's none of my business. You see what I mean? And that's what a lot of people on that panel did is they involved themselves in other people's business. Wasn't Dyer just retiring from apologetics because he thinks the space has broadly become unproductive? I don't think he's retired from apologetics. I think he's just not engaging with like a lot of the retards online anymore. I think he would still probably do like scheduled debates. I don't know. I didn't watch all of that. I didn't watch that at all. But I know he's said that he's not retiring from apologetics. He just doesn't want to debate retards anymore. A lot of this kind of stuff could have been handled behind the scenes. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what he's doing. All I know is that he's also posted on YouTube that he's not retiring from apologetics. That's the only thing I know. I mean, I'm going to be honest. Like, I'm kind of with Jay Dyer on that point. Like, even the basic arguments, like Protestants and evangelicals can't handle those arguments, and they just become absolute delusion fests of just absolute dog shit. So, like, it's kind of boring. It's not only is it boring, but it's unproductive. Yeah. Right, baby Wally. And he's also like, this is something else that's happened to Jay Dyer has taken breaks from doing apologetic uh theme stuff multiple times now. This is a new thing. They say he runs, but he never. Oh shit! Hold on, I just remembered something. When is this happening? 18th. Okay, no, that's the wrong thing. The 10th. Oh shit, son! Today, today is Soren versus JP. I knew there was something I was forgetting about today. We'll see if that happens because last time JP ran away from a debate because he couldn't have his uh his buddy with him. Yeah, that's true as well. But JP did run from this debate though. He set it up with Andrew and then like at the last minute backed out of it. But yeah, people will say that about Jay Dyer because like, and this is something that they'll do too. Is like, come to my open panel full of fucking spurgs who's not going to let you get three sentences out. Come to my open panel to do that with me. Otherwise, you're running from a debate. What the fuck are you talking about? Man, I'm really happy I remember that debate's happening though. That's probably going to be something I cover later on tonight. I think Wednesdays are going to be days of reviewing an actual debate. It'll be a good one to do. Just depends on how long their Q&A thing is. His booba, what the fuck? Where did that come from? Yeah, like ultimately, I just wanted to say, like, but the whole point of this, so that I'm gonna probably go to. Well, I got an hour. But ultimately, my whole point of this whole thing of what I'm talking about right now is like the debate. Marte got destroyed. Then they then a bunch of hyenas came into the fucking scene to try to eat him alive because he had lost a debate. A lot of random, stupid, pointless shit came up that was meaningless. A lot of individual personal issues were trying to be worked out on Marte on an open panel on the internet where there's not going to get anything that's ever worked out from that because it's basically trying to drag him out and humiliate him. People got involved in other people's business that didn't involve them at all. They, in a way, to shame Marte. And I don't even like Marte. I don't think what he does is good. But, it doesn't matter if the person is a good person or not, or whether or not you think that they deserve respect. I treat everybody with this type of mentality. If they don't treat me the same way, I'm going back to my natural state of things like this. I don't care. I will always give people that kind of respect, and I will spur out on you in a debate and an argument. But I won't. That doesn't mean that I would call you, uh, or I'd be pointing out things in your personal life about you. That's retarded, or like random dramas that don't involve the actual debate itself. But just sad, like it was shitty. Marte lost that debate, but he deserved the way he got treated after that. A lot of that stuff was just personal shit that should have been worked out in the background, not in public. But I have grace for those people who probably just weren't thinking about it being online. But anyhow, I'm just saying, like in that after panel, for the most part, the only thing that actually good that happened in the after panel was after Marte and ABG left, and Kat actually had to ask the kind of questions that needed to be asked that I would have wanted to ask, but I just gave up on the whole thing because I just saw the drama people there. But that was the only interesting part of what happened after. Everything else was just kind of garbage. Like anything that didn't have to do with the argument itself was just garbage. But anyhow, this is a strange thing. I usually don't have two before work rants in a row. This is a rare occurrence. Usually, this only happens every once in a blue moon. To be honest, this one's probably going to be a I don't know. Like this is the thing that I ultimately hope for, right? And this is the thing I will say about all of this. I hope that everybody that's involved in this has learned a lesson. I hope that everybody that I hope, God gives everybody grace within that and forgives them for their follies that they have committed in that. And I hope that Marte learns the lesson that he needs to learn so he can quit doing these ridiculous prompts. Because I don't, I'm going to be honest, like these are seeming like a little bit delusional type of debate prompts. I hope that they all uh, figure this shit out. I hope that Marte talks to his priest and gets this shit worked out. I hope he gets back to going to the damn liturgy and taking part in the Eucharist. I really hope and pray that he gets to be able to do that very soon. I hope that his life, I'm not trying to say like a whole prayer. I'm not praying right now. I'm just saying things that I hope. Because public prayer is fake and gay. But I hope he gets everything worked out. I hope that the intellectual space will actually gain something. It will actually start growing. And I hope that these people that I keep being allowed in will finally be shut out. But, that's not going to happen. It's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. And the reason is because of audience. These people provide a type of audience that come and watch your stuff, so you get more ad revenue or time, and some of them donate. But I'm gonna be honest with you. These people are not loyal people. Those people in that community will turn against you and rip you to shreds as soon as they will. Anybody else, you are a side piece to their main course. That's what you are. You are a side piece. They will throw you away. They will do whatever it takes possible to use you as a vessel to create more of drama. That's what they'll do. Those communities are pointless to be a part of, useless, and anybody that engages with them, the people who think that they're actually that won't happen to them, it will happen to you at some point. And that's not talking about people here. I'm not talking about Abe. I'm not talking about Emmett. I'm not talking about them. Because I need to start specifying people I'm not talking about now, because people get really offended at me for shit, saying general shit that applies to everybody. I got a little angry there. My bad. But I do hope everything works out. I hope everybody gets learned something from it. I hope that the personal attacks eventually stop and we can actually start engaging with the actual arguments themselves, because he lost like he lost that debate really hard, because he didn't understand the entailment of his position, and he didn't understand how to refute that position, or he didn't understand how easily it was to refute it. Blindness is not connected to virtues. That's a fact. It's a silly argument to say. Well, it's connected to more conservative. I don't even remember the statistics, because he never really provided a link. So he's saying there's statistical proof that proves that if somebody's blind, they generally live a more conservative life, which would be them being more virtuous. But even if that's true, even if it's per capita the case, is it good to target blind women based on the fact that they could be more virtuous? How do you know that they're more virtuous? Well, you would find out they're more virtuous the same way you would with somebody who is not blind. You'd go on dates, you'd have conversations with them. So just because it's per capita, and generally you could say that maybe this would be the case in his argument. Ultimately, and I'm steel manning his argument, because this is not the argument he fucking made at all. But even then, it's still not a guarantee for virtue. It's not a guarantee for a pious partner. Yeah, like that, and he kept saying, and he did keep saying that all blind women are pretty much more virtuous, all of them. He would switch back and forth from per capita to blind to everyone. So that's and before he switched to per capita, because that's what he did late into the debate. I think he's still trying to form the argument, which would be perfectly fine if that's what he chose to do that debate for. If he was still trying to form that argument, he could have just been a little humble at the end of it and said, this is just something I was trying to come up with, uh, and I wanted to really push it in this, and I knew that AVG could push me on this enough so I could figure this out, instead of acting so boastful and arrogant. He could have been humble, but it was funny, because I did see that super chat, because I was checking in every once in a while, and I did see that, like, if tried to add, if blind women are more virtuous, should we blind women to make them virtuous? Yes, that would be the entailment of the original position that he was making before he changed it. Dave K2. And also on my stream, as we were peeking in and out of it and just listening to Marte talk about his argument, then I would sit there thinking about how retarded it was for a bit. Like, we ultimately came down to the conclusion that you ought uh, seek out in the ultimate entailment of his position, you ought seek out a crippled woman from the neck down who is deaf, blind, and completely mute, because she would be the maximum virtue. She would have the maximum virtues because she was just completely incapable of engaging in any type of degeneracy. So that's like where his argument basically reduces down to. That's the absurd shit that he's pushing. Like, that's the ultimate entailment of it. And then unless it's like a cost benefit analysis, then if the benefit is that the actual act of blindness outweighs the virtue, or the act of like walking outweighs the being able to walk and to hold, like, use our arms or something, outweighs the virtue value. So then you have to pick, then you have to make a decision based on virtue versus effectiveness, or effectiveness of being a wife and being able to fulfill her duty, which then would ultimately uh, seek out, well, what the ultimate refutation of his entire position is if he's making it a cost benefit analysis, that you have to balance out between disability versus virtue gained by that disability and capability of being able to do wifely duties or whatever, then it ultimately reduces down to, um, well, why wouldn't you seek out somebody who could be virtuous plus capable? That would actually be the ultimate answer to the question he's kind of asking. A woman who is virtuous plus capable. Hey, Kat. We were just sitting here, hid by a little hut, talking about how that debate was super gay, and then the after panel got pretty gay because they went off topic and just started humiliating Marte rather than trying to destroy the argument. It was all gay. It got less gay when you actually brought it back to the argument itself. So thank you for that. Because I was watching, I was getting pissed, and then it was like, oh, okay, Cat actually brought it back to the topic and actually asked good questions. Try to engage, but I'm too quiet. Well, I will say this: the time where you first went up, like the debate, at that point, like there was no debate happening anymore. It was just, Marte, you bad because you do this. Marte, you bad because you didn't give money. Marte, you just bad. Marte, you bad. Marte, bad because this. Marte, bad because this. That's what it devolved into by the time you first joined. And it took them forever to finally get that gay shit out of their fucking spirits or whatever. So it did just turn into like, and then after that, with the questions you were asking, you actually asked questions for me to be able to fully try to steelman the position itself. The ultimate position that they had was still terrible, because why would you seek a blind woman, or why would you base, if you're doing a cost benefit analysis based on disability that add virtue, right, or disability because it gives virtue versus capability of being able to be a wife and take care of children and stuff like that, if you're doing a cost benefit analysis within that, because that would be the steel man of the position, is a cost benefit analysis, then ultimately, why wouldn't you try to maximize virtue with maximizing capability? So the whole point that you should date blind women and you should seek out blind women because they're more virtuous, it means nothing. It doesn't even matter if it's per capita the same, a higher degree. It would ultimately be the end result of the argument, and that true answer that you get out of this is that you should look for women who are virtuous and capable. Maximize those two things. Does an after panel have to stick to the debate topic? Was any of the after panel BS because entailments led to that expanded conversation? Now, granted, Trippy was nothing but BS, but some of it was tangent. Well, some of it could have been, but I do think this is my thing. If there's an after panel and there's a debate topic, I do think that the moderator should keep it on the rails and not bring in and allow petty drama bullshit to happen. That's my opinion. Whether someone does it or not, that's up to them. I will say that allowing it to happen makes the whole fucking thing gay. Yeah, like Kat did well with it, like actually trying to figure out what they were trying to mean by the things they were saying, so that I could actually form a fully functional steelman of the position, which ultimately degrades it down into meaninglessness. Like they're literally not making a point at all. Literally no point, except that you should maximize virtue and capability. Yeah, it was a tool, but it was a prescriptive tool. It was a prescriptive tool that they just kept thinking that they could only use half the word and escape the other entailments of what they're actually saying. They're giving odds. They are definitely giving odds. They're not giving an is statement. If it was just an is statement, they would just say women are more virtuous when blind, and that would be it. And this is my evidence for it. But yeah, well, what you're doing is you're doing what they kind of want. This is the thing, is that Marte the whole time was saying that I want people to get stuck on the fact that, blind, or we're talking about blind people. I want people to get stuck on that so I could use it as a weapon, like a little jab underneath the shield, to expose something different, which is like men ought make cost benefit analysis based on uh, like general ideas of per capita women, or what is it called? Fuck. Characteristics of virtuous, statistically more virtuous women. So his real point that he was trying to make was it, well, I think it was kind of cope about halfway through the debate. I don't know. But he threw that away, and then this was the point that he was trying to make. This was his steel man. This was the thing he really wanted to argue about. And even then, like the whole, what was it? There was a point that he was trying to make, like it's the Islamic dilemma. He never actually gave a dilemma. Everything, like it was just a bunch of open, like, like it was just like you have to choose either one or the other. Either feminism good or blind people good or blind women virtuous. Well, it was pretty much that. Feminism good or blind women virtuous? Which one are you gonna pick? Which one are you gonna pick, boy? You gonna pick feminism good? No, I'm just gonna take apart the fact that blind people equals higher virtue. And even if that's the case per capita, it's not an entailment of someone being blind. It just means they have less capability. And also, like, this is something that people don't seem to understand. There are, within like understanding frameworks and positions like feminism and stuff, there can be elements of within feminism that can be true, but within the greater framework of feminism does not function properly. So there can be things that are in feminism that can be true that with used within the proper framework uh, is beneficial, but just because something is a feminist assertion does not always mean that it's a bad thing. It's just not using a good framework to understand the true issues at hand and applying it in a haphazard, bullshit, and shitty, holistic feminist way. So there could be positions that are true within feminism, but it not necessarily be a feminist argument. Well, last I just showcased that people just be saying shit. Yeah, that's what all this is. Like that's why I don't even have a. The dichotomy was either men choose picking blind women, thus denying their choice, or you accept that that means that feminism has fucked the dating market. Oh yeah, that okay. Well, maybe I was listening to it and I was trying to connect it to his argument because that doesn't connect to anything he fucking said at all. That's just like a weird, random, off the wall shit that has nothing to do. If that's like his ultimate steel man of what he was trying to say, that's even dumber. I steel manned his position too hard. I gave him too much credit, is what you're saying. Oh, that's a terrible explanation, then. This is something it sounds like he's not worked on at all. You know what? This is why I've retired to my damn shed. Like all this shit, like all these fucking retarded ass debate prompts, all these retarded ass arguments, all these retards on the internet not even understanding how to engage with argumentation itself. It's all this so fucking pointless. What's going on here and what are y'all talking about? Oh, I was just talking about how like I was watching this debate with Marte and Page, or Marte and AVG, sorry. But I was watching their debate as I woke up, as I was slowly waking up for the day. And I kind of went through the debate. I was trying to steel man Marte's position, even though it's not a good position at all. It's basically reduces down to blind women equals higher virtue, which means men should seek out blind women. And then and then it kind of like looped around into then it being a cost benefit analysis of um disability versus that gives virtue versus capability within marriage. And then it but then it turned into a bunch of like random drama bullshit that had nothing to do with the topic, and that's what I was talking about. Just trying to, like, for probably a good hour and a half to 2 hours, it was just let's humiliate Marte because there's blood in the water of this shitty argument. So let's just bring up a bunch of random shit to attack him with because we can get away with it. No, no, that's not Anson. Like Anson uses that damn that same profile picture you use. So that's probably why he thinks you're Anson. But no, that's not Anson. Yeah. Um, I still need to get a hold of Spartan. I forgot about that till this morning. I completely forgot about that. But I also found out like I don't know what's happened. I wasn't paying attention. I guess I've lost about 600 hours of view time, probably because I've like the full year is coming around now, so I guess I'm losing those hours now. So I'm probably going to be streaming a lot more, a lot longer to try to farm out those hours again. Sweater is kind of anti Anson. Like, I'm gonna be honest. If I think this is the thing, right? I think if there's like three people who would want to grab Anson and throw him in some sort of, corrective center, it'd probably be me, Emmett, and a mysterious person in the chat. Are you the mysterious person, Jeremy? I don't know. I can't let that be known. There's a mysterious. It's mysterious. If anyone's a mystery, it's probably me. Well, that's the thing. It's still a mystery, though. So it wouldn't be a mystery if it was you. I did I did flip through some stuff today. Um, there was a game that came out that I've been wanting to play. I didn't know that it was actually coming out today, but it did. There's this Burgle Gnome game that I want to play because it just seems retarded. But there's also a debate tonight. I kind of want to go through a little bit. I don't know if I'm going to watch the whole thing, but I might. I may end up falling asleep. Yeah, for the next probably month because October. When is October? Okay. Yeah, October is when I'm going to lose about 600 hours of view hours. So I need to, if I'm going to get monetized, I need to do it now. So this month and next month, I'm probably going to be streaming a lot. Why you keep losing hours? Because like before, like last year when I was streaming, I was just streaming like I streamed a lot in June last year, and I had probably a few hundred hours just off of people from Chris's and a bunch of other people that I used to talk to but don't talk to anymore coming around. So I had a few hundred hours from that month, and then I didn't stream any during July, and then I started streaming in October because I was trying to impress somebody, or not impress somebody, but like trying to interact with somebody. But yeah, the hours expire. It's like it has to be within a year. Yeah, it has to be a 1 year thing. At least I'm pretty sure. Let me look. I'm like 90% sure that's the way it is. Yeah, it's the last 365 days. They can have like 12 hours to donate to. I appreciate the donations, but there are certain people I will not take donations from. I'm gonna go see if I even have a car that I could drive real quick. If I do, I'm probably gonna end this in about 10 minutes. I'll be right back. All right, looks like today is gonna be one of those last minute days, boys. Anyways, what I was saying, there are certain people that I won't take money from, and I am intimidated to take money from a shadowy assassin on the internet. I feel like I'll be forced to commit crimes. shadowy, mysterious lady assassin who's already attempted to take my life twice. One with alcohol poisoning, and one was not that long ago. Like I actually almost choked. Like I literally almost choked to death live on stream. Voltaire was there, and and Voltaire was the only one with me, and I was like, "Oh fuck, cats finally got me." Is because of the pocket hot dogs. Exactly. Hell, I guess I got what the fuck is this Ruslan on the fuck of this on the fucking front of this? The fuck? Got the damn broccoli haircut. But tarnishing your good name. I'm not tarnishing your good name. I'm just letting it be known. If there's shadow. Oh my god, I can't fucking speak anymore. There's a shadowy. Oh my god, I'm sounding like a fucking retard now. Shadow, e, shadowy. There's a shadowy assassin. Oh my god, I'm fucking doing it. Shadowy assassin who lurks around in the dark of YouTube chat rooms and snipes people out. Like, see, you guys forget that was that was the meme that um that was the first thing that Kat would do to me when I was somewhere. She would literally hold on. I can find the thing right here. I can find it right here. I mean, this was over a year ago, I think now. Like I can actually track when the meme started because I copied and pasted this into my Discord account so that I would just always have access to it. Yeah, it was it October 3rd? I thought it was before that. Okay, it's not been a year yet. But every time that I was in a doing something, I would get this. This would happen. So every time, and like this is the thing, I'm pretty sure it was in October. When did? Because the reason it stopped for me is because Charlie Kirk died, and I just stopped doing it. So it couldn't have been October. September. Let me see. Maybe I'm just confusing what month is October. Okay, yeah. Okay, that. Hold on. June, July, August, September 4th. That's when the memes start. Okay, so I thought it would last longer than a week. But yeah, that's where all this assassin stuff comes from. Is she used to snipe at me with that at places I would be. Like if I was at JS's or I was talking on Abe's or something. It turned into a shootout in the chat. All right. But then after that arc, what actually happened was for a while after we were done trying to take each other out in chat, we actually became we actually started working together and starting trolling Abe's channel pretty hard for a while there. It'd just be like Abe would be doing something really serious, and then he's like, I don't know what the fuck is going on in chat, but man, it doesn't feel like I've even been around like the. I don't feel like I've been around the panel sphere for like 3 years, but I have. That's kind of crazy. Because I was 30 when I first started to come around these places. Feels weird that I've been a Christian for almost 3 years too. Like my life has completely altered and changed in like every fucking functional way possible in the past 3 years. Ever since I turned 30, everything kind of went to shit, you know? There's some good things that have happened, though. There's some really good things. I've met some really cool people. I've become more rationally grounded. I've learned how to debate better. I've learned a lot about theology that most people can't even grasp, and they've done this shit for 20 years. Because I got that in me. I got that dog in me, right? I got that theological dog in me. You give me some, like, this is the thing. This is the way that I've always worked. And I'm just going to be a little arrogant for a little bit here because I feel like it. And because I'm about to have to go to work. So I'm amping myself up to go to work, okay? Um, like most people will do things for a very long time, for like 10, 20, like 5 or 6 years. Every time that I've had to go to a new job and I've done something, it takes me 3 months to do it the same as them. It takes me 6 months to do it better than them. And a year, I'm in a whole nother fucking league as them. That's the truth of it. And I've been here doing this theology stuff, this philosophy stuff. I've done philosophy since I was a kid, but like I've been doing this theology stuff for probably about 2 or 3 years. Wait till I get catechized. Wait till I can actually talk. Wait till the chains come off, boy. How old are you? I haven't seen you, but your voice sounds like 45 or 50. Well, that's because uh I've done a lot of stuff. Like I just have that. I just got a lot of testosterone. That's why I'm bald. I got a deep ass voice. I got that wisdom of taking lots of psychedelics. So I feel like I've experienced 20 or 30 years extra amount of life. that I actually have. It also, my brain turned on completely at some point in the past 3 years. But I do think that it's kind of like a weird, it's like an interesting thing. I'm the same age now as when Christ was crucified, right? And what have I done? Not a lot. I have a lot of stuff I have to make up for. Thankfully, by the grace of God, I can live longer than 33 years. So there's always more to do, always things to get better at. All right, Twitter. See you, man. I'm probably gonna be around if Alex Soren is streaming himself. I'll probably be on his channel, listening to it at work. Hell, I will say this: as good as I think I've gotten at this stuff, there's obviously a lot of people who are way better at it. Alex Soren is really good at like uh doing the apologetic stuff right now. There's a few people, a few other people. There's I don't know if they're really engaging in apologetics or they're just like doing like YouTube stuff, kind of like Cleave to Antiquity. He's been pretty on it. He's got a lot of interesting people that show up there. There's what is that guy? Something in Korea. He's really cool. There's a few people that I think have kind of gotten a little out of whack. There's that Luigi guy. I think he's pretty cool. I think he's got a lot of cool things going on. I don't like his like geopolitics or his prescriptions for culture, but I understand it at least. Yeah, I gotta see you, Scott. I'm probably about to go in like 10 minutes. I probably should just go ahead and go now and just get ready for work instead of grabbing everything and running straight out the door. Maybe I should do that, but I'm gonna finish my thought right here. Nikolai in Korea, that's it. There's that guy. There's that Ash guy. I haven't seen a lot of him, but that one debate he did with JP, he was a really cool guy. He seems really good at what he does. And I'm trying to think of others. I think those are the bigger Orthodox channels, and like Nikolai in Korea or Nicholas. I don't remember. Is it Nikolai or Nicholas? I don't remember. But all right, Cat. See you later. Well, there's a lot of good people that are doing like engaged in the apologetic sphere. I don't know if I'm ever going to be an apologist, but I will be somebody like the second that I'm able to actually use scriptural arguments. I won't start dancing circles around some fools. Because that's like the one big thing that I've kind of limited myself to not doing. That's one of the benefits for me being at JS is for a while is like I actually went and learned all the scriptures that he's talking about and used in his arguments. So I already know how to refute people based that make those same types of arguments with scriptures. But you know, can't do it yet. One day I will. I think I'm just gonna go ahead and go. I think I'm just gonna go ahead and go get ready for work and get that shit done. Probably be back later on tonight. Um, with either reviewing the Alex Soren JP debate, or I'll just be playing um probably some that what's it called, Gothic game. Yeah. I might be playing Gothic or that Vampire Story game. We might do the Vampire Story game. That's probably what we'll do. But yeah, I'm out of here. Y'all have a good one. See ya.